Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. So, what we're going to be talking about today is looking at technology and driving profit and adding real value with payroll. A lot of the time, a payroll component of a business is it's a sunk cost. It's a cost that we don't necessarily manage because we know that we just have to process the pays. But with technology, we can improve our processes. And for bookkeepers and accountants, we can use technology to improve our processes for ourselves internally, but also using that technology to deliver that to our clients to improve their processes as well, and then allow them to add other revenue streams with the technology in payroll. So I'll just move to the next slide. So what we'll be covering today is making your life easier through automation. And then with that automation, moving from just being a compliance service organization to really adding value to our customers. Providing a cost-effective service as well. So we'll look at that. So instead of using multiple systems, we'll look at KeyPay, a system that will then provide you with technology that covers a number of processes within the business. And then we'll also look at enhancing brand loyalty for clients as well. So making your life easier through automation. So one thing we just would like people to think about is, what processes in the payroll cycle or payroll process do you currently automate? Are you manually entering timesheets into a payroll system, for example? So there are many facets to getting to the point of running a pay run in payroll. So a few years ago, I was talking to a client here in Australia, and she and her husband own 5 bakeries together. And she came to us frustrated with current processes. She was double handling timesheets. They didn't have any oversight of wages before they happen. She wanted a rostering and time and attendance system that was integrated seamlessly with payroll. But what she actually couldn't fathom and hadn't thought about when we spoke over the course of a few weeks was that KeyPay could actually also automate the payments of tool allowance for bakers, or the payment of overtime, or accrual of time in lieu calculations. She simply hadn't fathomed that anything like this could actually exist in the market, and therefore wasn't looking for a solution. So, she couldn't get her head around the fact that all KeyPay would need is the start and stop times, and the system would do the rest for you. And this is what we're talking about with looking at automation and being open to new technologies that can present us with opportunities to improve our processes and deliver efficiencies both to our businesses and to our clients' businesses. So like this business owner, bookkeepers and accountants have previously been spending time double handling timesheets, entering timesheets manually into Excel, importing timesheets into a payroll solution, managing employee expense reimbursements separately from and outside of payroll, printing rosters, managing the payroll process from rostering, timesheets, and payroll, so from multiple systems, none of which talk to each other. And also using Excel to manually calculate a raft of pay conditions, such as time in lieu accruals and overtime calculations as examples. Automation doesn't have to be scary. Behind every good automation is a good setup. So the work that goes into KeyPay is getting set up correctly. When you're set up correctly, automating tasks can eliminate human error and reduce those frustrating and monotonous tasks you need to do for payroll. Payroll is complex. It is a complex component to any business. And those providing payroll services are smart people. So we actually want to be making the most of your skill set. And using the right tools gives you the time and the opportunity to do that. We use automation all the time, but sometimes in payroll, people can be reluctant to trust it. So in this session, I'm going to show you how we can successfully automate workflows without any intervention by you, the client's bookkeeper or accountant or payroll bureau, providing you with the approved timesheets ready for the pay run. So what I'm going to do is provide a demonstration just now of clocking on and off by an employee, and then we'll look at the rest as the workflows come in, and we'll come back to this screen. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen quickly, and I'm going to share my mobile. Okay, so this is the employee mobile app in KeyPay. It's also a manager app, so I can also log on and look at my manager portal as well. But for now, we're just going to look at this as an employee. Earlier on in the day, I clocked in, and now I'm going to clock out, take a photo of me, and now the timesheet has been created. So just whilst we're here and before we go back to KeyPay, the main system, I'll just take you through the mobile app just quickly. So this is where I can access all my personal details. I can access pay slips. I can access bank accounts, KiwiSaver, leave, unavailability. Unavailabilities are for the roster and other documents. So if the business is broadcasting a document out to employees or a group of employees, employees can read those documents and acknowledge them. I can also log leave requests. Down the bottom here, I can log expense claims, timesheets. So that's end of day type timesheets. And this is my front screen where I can see my last pay slip. I can see my upcoming shifts and so forth. So we'll go back to KeyPay now. So this is KeyPay, the platform, so the payroll workforce management platform. I just clocked off as an employee as Annika Patel. So if I go to the approved timesheet screen, and we're looking at the fortnight ending the 13th of June, you can see there is a timesheet here from Annika. So this icon over to the right-hand side shows me how the timesheet was created. So was it created using the iPad app? Was it created by the mobile app, which is what we did? Were the timesheets imported and created from the roster? So the icon down the side here will show you how the timesheet has been created. I can make an edit to the timesheet as a manager. If the employee had left a note against the timesheet, the little icon over here would be blue. So I'll just leave a note as a manager. And you can see the note turns blue and I have a note that I can quickly hover over to view what that is. I've got a few more timesheets in this fortnight ending the 30th of May. So processes, the timesheets have been processed through the pay run. So for the timesheet for Annika, I'll just, go back and I'll approve this, say, I'll just approve that one timesheet. Now when I run a pay run, as soon as the timesheet is approved, it is available for the pay run. You can see my one timesheet has been found, and that will be automatically brought into the pay run. So from the perspective of a payroll admin or finance admin, anyone who has access to run pay runs in KeyPay, we haven't had to touch the timesheet. It's been logged by the employee, it's been approved by the manager, and it's available for the pay run. And we can see that one timesheet has come in and paid Annika for those hours. In a prior pay run, I have some rules set up in my business, which if an employee works more than a certain number of hours, we are going to pay the employee overtime. So back in the approved timesheet screen, if I go back to the fortnight that was processed through the pay run that last fortnight. So when I show timesheet costing, this is sending the timesheet data through the pay conditions engine to automatically cost the wages or what we are going to be paying this employee. If we hover over the the costing on the timesheet approval screen, we can see that overtime is kicking in. So my rules are actually applying to actually the time of day that the employee is working, as well as the number of hours. So Annika looks to have started at 6 a.m. in the morning, and my rule says that between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., that is essentially deemed overtime. So we're applying overtime to those first 2 hours of work. So optimizing processes to save time. What might previously have been managed via paper or Excel, and then the importing of timesheets into a payroll solution, we've seen in this demonstration how timesheets flow seamlessly into payroll. And I've shown you how the calculation of overtime can be managed automatically using KeyPay pay conditions engine and rule sets. So we clocked on and off by the employee. The timesheet was automatically created. The manager receives a notification, and he or she can set those notifications, whether they want to receive those on a daily basis or as soon as the timesheet comes through, or on certain days of the week. The manager approves the timesheet, and then the timesheet is automatically then available for the pay run. And when the timesheet comes into the pay run and into the system, it's run through the pay conditions engine automatically, applying whatever pay conditions are applicable and depending on how the employee is set up and what rules they have applied to them. So we've totally removed the need for you to follow up on timesheet submissions. We've put the onus back on the client to ensure timesheets are approved and available for us to process. We've put the onus on the employee to clock on and off, creating a seamless workflow for the business, whether they're processing the payroll or you are. And we've removed any need for calculations at the time of the pay run. There's no requirement to calculate overtime in an Excel spreadsheet, for example. So what does this mean? We can unlock a lot of value using data. So payroll technology isn't just about calculating tax. Payroll technology should be about providing you with the business tools you need, which allow you to make informed business decisions. And by analyzing the data we have to hand, we can advise our clients on how to optimize their processes. Let's look at a couple of examples. So we'll look at filtering in the pay run and roster costing. Okay, so I'll just go back to a prior pay run from this pay run here. So this pay run has been created. It hasn't yet been finalized. So before we finalize a pay run, we can use a filter in the pay run to, let's say, look for anyone who has worked more than what they should have worked. So there are a number of filters here. I'll choose hours worked. And we're running a fortnightly pay run. So let's say I want to identify who has worked more than 80 hours. Okay, so you can see that the pay run is filtered down. So this is a way for us to check off the pay run. So the idea with KeyPay is that we create a whole heap of automated workflows through to a payroll by exception process. So there should be no calculations come the day of the pay run. However, we might want to check off on some compliance factors. And whilst we automate a lot of compliance, we still give you some warnings and the opportunity to filter the pay run. So, this is really important. Let's say you have a client in manual with 50 employees, all clocking off on and off to create the timesheets. So by looking at the pay run and identifying who has worked more than their standard hours, we can filter and expose issues within the business, such as particular employees working overtime or trends in employees all working more than they should or more than what was planned. We can look for hours worked is greater than the employee's standard hours as well. The filtering allows us to instantly see all those employees who have worked more than they might normally. And this is really significant for any business. This could be an HR issue. It could be pushing you into significant overtime costs. And that way we have the data available to us to go to our clients to understand why this is happening. Should these timesheets be being approved by management? Are employees leaving notes? Do we have a trail? What can the business do to reduce the overtime costs? So I'll just take you to another example of a way in which we can provide access to data and to be able to add value to your clients. So this is a roster in KeyPay. You can see that it's costed. So this is using the pay conditions engine. So the system uses the same pay conditions engine to cost the roster as we do to cost the pay run. KeyPay started out in payroll, but we slowly built out timesheets, time and attendance, and rostering to have a single source of data. So the setup of an employee, and then you roster them, and they clock on and off. The manager approves it, and it goes through to the pay run. If you have a client, for example, with 4 sites, and each site has 30 casuals, managing wages before they happen and ensuring optimal rosters is so important. Depending on seasonality, time of year, day of the year, weather conditions, there are many factors which can influence a client's revenue. Depending on the business, of course, we can roster staff and manage costs, wages costs, before they happen by adjusting the shifts in the roster. So I'll just show you, if I was to go to this shift for Annika. So it's already been published, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is, and it's about $330. If I change this to 9 p.m. and save that, it will unpublish it, but you'll see if I click back into the shift so I can look at the cost breakdown, you can see that the costing has automatically changed. So again, we're using the same pay conditions engine to cost the roster as we are to cost the pay run, meaning you're not getting any discrepancy of data from the time that you roster someone to the time that you run a pay run. You can see here that the timesheet or the rostered shift times is being sent through the pay conditions engine. And it's the same as what we do when you're looking at that timesheet approval screen. We're sending the timesheet data through the pay conditions engine. Annika is set up against a pay condition rule set, which then determines the rules that apply. But once we've got the timesheet data, that then determines which rules actually get triggered, depending on the day of the week, time of day, etc. And we can publish that shift. So you're providing clients with technology to streamline your own processes, and business operations, but also reducing costs for your clients, for them, because you're removing the extra systems by consolidating systems. Okay, so which leads us into moving from compliance to advisory. So when you're utilizing the right technology, that can help you add more value for your clients and introduce new revenue streams. It's common for bookkeepers and accountants to spend a lot of work on compliance and processing. Technology is available, though, to resolve these issues in relation to payroll. We can remove any double handling and the possibility of human errors to provide you with a single source of data and deliver automated workflows. And this allows you to then add revenue streams. So to create new revenue streams, provide additional services such as advisory, perhaps even training services, and also to grow and market your business to new clients, and possibly focusing on the more complex clients that you might not have been previously able to focus on because you didn't have the right tools. So you can add clients, you can build your client base, add value and provide advice to clients based on the data that you're seeing before and after the pay run. Embracing the right technology can allow bookkeepers and accountants to utilize the data and the technology to provide extra value to clients, and then refocus your saved time on other services to introduce new revenue streams and add value to your existing customers. And KeyPay does exactly this. It has been designed to deliver a whole number of automated workflows through to a payroll by exception process. Another thing to think about is how many systems do you and your clients use when processing client payroll data? So, are you using Excel for calculations? Are you using separate timesheet systems to a payroll solution? Are you using paper? So there's a lot of businesses still out there today who are using a lot of different systems, or who are still using paper, or who are using Excel. But good technology doesn't have to be expensive. often we can be looking after a lot of small businesses in bookkeeping and accounting. And these businesses don't necessarily need HR systems with all the various modules of training and recruitment, but every business does need some basic HR tools such as onboarding and the ability to manage qualification documents with expiry dates like visas or working with children's certificates, for example, business policy documents. And with looking after small businesses, we want to find ways to keep costs low. So using modern technology, it doesn't have to be expensive. When you can offer your clients a system that looks after various operational aspects of a business and the payroll process all in one, such as onboarding, timesheets, rostering, payroll, we can keep costs low for our customers with consolidation. So we've saved our clients on direct costs on technologies, but we're also saving them a lot of time on processing. There is a multiplier effect with the right technology. We can consolidate tech, deliver the right tools, and deliver automation, which saves us time and cuts costs. We thought we'd show you now the employee self-setup in KeyPay. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So I've just gone to the employee icon here and I've clicked on the Start Employee Self-Setup. So all you need is the name and email. You don't have to have the mobile number. And you can also request that the employee uploads qualification documents like I mentioned, so visas or working in hospitality, serving alcohol. So any certificates relating to that, anything with an expiry date, driver's license, etc. So I'll tick that. We can also collect emergency contact details as well. So what happens here is an employee will receive an email with a link and a button to click on that takes them through to the form. And here they can fill out their personal details. And the address will populate automatically. Employees can add as many bank accounts as they like. I'll just leave it to adding one for now. And I'll leave these details, so I'm going to automatically enroll and I'll leave my contribution at 3%. And now I've just got the tax code declaration. I'll just enter ones here and the tax code will populate, but you can change that, of course, and enter the date. I'll select first aid, so that's applicable to me. And I'll select the date as Sunday the 13th, and I'll show you how this works in the system with the expiry warnings on expiry dates. I won't upload a document, we can just finish that. So now back in my business, I have an incomplete employee. So this means that the employee has filled out I've either imported the employee and there are some missing details, or the employee has been added using the self-setup. And now as a payroll administrator, I can complete the setup of the employee. So I can turn self-service on straight away. And again, I can look at the contributions and I can set up their salary, wages, their per hour rate, etc. So you will remember that we had a first aid certificate uploaded for Bob and that it was expiring this Sunday. So you can see automatically we have an action item on our dashboard that the qualification is expiring. And once we click into it, we can see it's Bob's first aid certificate and it's expiring in 3 days. This is another added bonus to automating the payroll process and delivering value to your clients. Okay, so all you need is the name and email address, and the document goes out to the employee to fill in. So this is incorporating HR tools into KeyPay. We aren't an HR solution, but we do have these HR tools to help businesses, because every business has some requirements for HR tools. And we can, again, cut costs, save time. We've consolidated platforms, and we've delivered value to our customers. So just to touch briefly on enhancing brand loyalty. So KeyPay is a branded solution or white label solution. We can brand it with your own logo, which enhances the employee experience. And I'll give you an example of what we've seen here at KeyPay. So when an employee is using the mobile app, for example, in the employee self-service portal with one employer, and then they move to another employer, and all of a sudden they no longer have access to the mobile app, and they're all of a sudden logging timesheets in an Excel spreadsheet or on paper. So they say to their employer, I was using this great system at my last employer, you should check it out. And so what we then have seen is inquiries from these new employers or businesses that have been referred KeyPay by their employees. And the same thing with our partners, accounting firms, payroll bureaus, bookkeeping firms. So if you have a branded solution of KeyPay and you have employees working for your clients, and then the employees move, then they can then refer your branded KeyPay solution to their new employer. And we have started to see this at KeyPay. So there is a multiplier effect for the employee and the employer. And these days the employee experience is very important. There's a lot of value placed on that. So just to finish up, this is a little bit about KeyPay. So we are an award-winning cloud-based payroll and workforce management platform, so designed for New Zealand accountants and bookkeepers. We currently process over 26 billion in pays annually, and we're trusted globally by over 200,000 businesses. We have over 3.2 million employees on the platform, and we work with 750 partners globally. So we do give you the opportunity to look after clients who do have businesses across borders. If you've got a lot of New Zealand clients and they open up offices in Australia, for example, then there is a solution for you when using KeyPay. Thank you very much for listening. We do really appreciate your time, and we hope that you got something out of this webinar today. Thank you.